All right, buckle up because today we're diving headfirst into the fascinating world of the observer pattern.
Okay.
You want to know how to make your software systems sing in perfect harmony?
Yeah.
This is it.
Think of it this way. The observer pattern is like setting up an elegant communication system
Mm.
within your code.
Mm-hmm.
It's about making sure that when one thing changes, everything else that needs to know,
Right.
well, knows.
Okay.
No more digital shouting across the code base.
You had me at elegant communication for code. I always picture my code base as more of a mosh pit
Right.
than a symphony.
Sure.
So how does this observer pattern bring order to the chaos?
Yeah.
One of the sources mentioned something about a city bell. What's that all about?
Yes, the classic analogy. Imagine the city hall as the keeper of important information. When something noteworthy happens, say a new law is passed, they ring the city bell.
Mm-hmm.
Now, not everyone needs to know about this new law, right?
Right.
Just the folks it directly affects.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So the baker doesn't need to drop their sourdough starter because the library changed its hours.
Exactly. In this scenario, the city hall is our subject.
Okay.
It holds the crucial information. The bell ringing,
Yeah.
that's the signal that something has changed.
Yeah.
And the townspeople,
Okay.
there are observers. They choose to listen for specific announcements that matter to them. That's the core of the observer pattern, a one-to-many dependency between objects.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this translates to code. But to really wrap my head around it, could you give me a real-world software scenario?
Absolutely.
All right.
Let's say you're building a social media app. Every time someone posts a new photo, you want their followers to receive a notification.
Right. That's how you keep people hooked.
Exactly. Now, without the observer pattern,
Yeah.
you might be tempted to write code that directly connects the posting action to the notification system.
Right?
But what happens when you want to add, say, email notifications down the line?
Right.
Or maybe even SMS messages for those super fans?
Yeah.
You'd have to go back and rewrite a bunch of code,
Oh, yeah.
which, as you can imagine, can quickly become a tangled mess.
Yeah. Sounds like a recipe for bugs and late-night debugging sessions.
Right.
Not my idea of a good time.
That's where the observer pattern comes in clutch.
Okay.
In this scenario, the subject would be the photo posting mechanism.
Okay.
Every time a new photo is posted, it sends out a signal.
Yeah.
Our digital bell. Now we can have any number of observers. The notification system, the email system, whatever. You can dream up all listening for that specific signal.
And the beauty is these observers don't need to know the nitty-gritty details of how the photo posting works, right?
Exactly. They just need to know that when that signal goes off, they spring into action. That's the magic of decoupling.
Okay.
It's like creating modular building blocks for your code. Each piece has its own job, and they communicate cleanly and efficiently.
Okay. Decoupling. Got it. It's like giving each part of your code a clear responsibility and communication protocol. But our sources mention other benefits too.
Right.
Things like flexibility and efficiency. What makes the observer pattern so powerful in those areas? Flexibility, efficiency. Those are some big claims.
Yeah.
I'm ready to be convinced.
Okay.
Give me the so what on these benefits.
Let's take flexibility first. Picture this. You've launched your social media app, and it's a hit.
Okay.
But now users are clamoring for a new feature. They want the option to receive notifications when someone they follow starts a live video
Okay.
with the observer pattern in place.
Okay.
You can slide this new feature in like a pro.
No need to rip apart the entire code base.
Not at all.
Oh, wow.
You simply create a new observer specifically for the live video feature.
Okay.
This observer sits there patiently waiting for the signal that a live video is started.
Right.
Meanwhile, the rest of your app remains happily unaffected. That's flexibility in action.
Okay. I'm seeing how that's way more efficient than rewriting chunks of code every time you want to tweak something.
Precisely. And speaking of efficiency, think about it this way. Instead of having every part of your code constantly checking for updates,
Right.
you have a streamlined system where only the relevant bits are alerted when something they care about happens.
Like a targeted notification system for your code?
Exactly.
Right.
No wasted effort, just pure focused communication. Now let's talk about efficiency in a broader sense.
Okay.
Imagine trying to maintain a massive code base where everything is interconnected.
Okay.
One tiny change could have ripple effects leading to bugs and crashes in completely unrelated areas.
Wow.
It'd be a nightmare.
I'm getting chills just thinking about it.
The observer pattern helps you avoid this nightmare.
Okay.
By decoupling your code, you create these independent modules that are easier to understand, test, and maintain.
So it's not just about adding new features, it's about keeping your existing code base healthy and manageable.
Absolutely. Think of it like maintaining a car.
Okay.
If every part is connected in a complex, interdependent way,
Right.
even a small issue can turn into a major repair.
Sure.
But with a modular design, you can easily diagnose and fix problems without affecting the entire system.
Okay, you've sold me on the benefits. But before we move on, I want to rewind for a second.
Okay.
We keep talking about subjects and observers.
Yeah.
And while that makes sense in the context of our City Bell and social media examples,
Right.
can you give me a more concrete definition of these terms?
Of course. In the simplest terms, the subject is the part of your code that holds the information
Okay.
and announces when it changes.
Yeah.
It's like the central hub. The observers are the parts of your code that need to react to those changes.
Okay.
They subscribe to the subject saying, hey, let me know when something interesting happens over there.
So when you get a notification on your phone that someone liked your post,
Yeah.
the social media app is the subject,
Right.
and you eagerly awaiting those digital pats on the back are the observer.
Precisely.
Okay, cool.
And the beauty is that you, the observer, don't need to know the intricacies of how the notification system works.
Right.
You just care that you get that little dopamine hit when someone hearts your witty comment.
Makes perfect sense. Now, our eagle-eyed listener pointed out something interesting.
Okay.
One of the sources mentioned another pattern called publisher-subscriber. It hinted that it was somehow related to the observer pattern, but also different. What's the deal with that? Is this like comparing Coke and Pepsi? Subtle differences, but essentially the same thing. So is it Coke versus Pepsi or more like apples and oranges?
It's closer to apples and oranges, both fruits, but with distinct characteristics. The observer pattern, as we've discussed, establishes a direct line of communication between the subject and its observers.
Okay.
The subject keeps track of who's listening and notifies them directly when something changes.
Like a teacher calling out the names of students who aced their test.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now, with the publisher-subscriber pattern, we introduce a middleman into the mix. Think of it like an event bus or message queue.
Okay.
The publisher, similar to our subject, announces events to this middleman. It doesn't need to know who's listening. It just shouts it out to the void. Or rather, the event bus.
Okay, so it's less about direct communication and more about broadcasting a message widely.
Precisely. Now, on the other side, we have subscribers.
Yeah.
These are similar to observers.
Right.
In that they're interested in specific events. However, instead of subscribing directly to the publisher, they subscribe to the event bus, specifying the types of events they care about.
So it's like setting up filters for your email inbox. You only get the messages that match your criteria.
Right.
And you don't need to know who sent them.
That's a great analogy. The event bus acts as this intermediary,
Yeah.
ensuring that publishers and subscribers remain blissfully unaware of each other's existence. This adds an extra layer of decoupling, which can be incredibly powerful in large, complex systems.
So if the observer pattern is a laser-focused notification system, publisher-subscriber is more like a radio broadcast. Anyone tuned to the right frequency can pick up the signal.
Exactly. And the choice between the two often comes down to the level of complexity
Right.
and decoupling your project demands. The observer pattern shines in situations where you have a relatively small number of objects
Right.
and want to maintain a direct line of communication. Publisher-subscriber, on the other hand, is ideal for larger systems where events need to be broadcast widely and you want to minimize dependencies between components.
So it's about choosing the right tool for the job. No one-size-fits-all solution in the world of software design, huh?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Every project is unique, and the best developers are those who can select the right patterns to solve specific challenges.
Well, I feel like we've done a pretty good job of unpacking the observer pattern today. We've covered its inner workings, explored its benefits, and even taken a quick detour into the world of publisher-subscriber.
Yeah, I think so too.
So the next time you're using your favorite app or website, take a moment to consider the intricate dance of code happening behind the scenes. You might just find yourself recognizing the elegant hand of the observer pattern at work, making your digital life a little smoother and a lot more enjoyable.
It's everywhere.
That's a wrap on this deep dive into the observer pattern. Until next time, keep those brains buzzing and those curiosity engines running.